With most functions and formulas in Excel, you want to have some choices. You want to have some options, and these are called parameters. So in this lecture, we're going to talk a little bit about parameters. We're going to go ahead and create another function, but this time instead of just saying hello, which is nice, or saying hello space, and then using whatever the logged in username, we're going to give them a choice, a parameter. And so we're going to have whatever the name in the cell or whatever name that's given basically to the function. So we're going to say function, let's just call this welcome3 for example's sake. And we'll go ahead and just I'm going to copy and paste most of this information here, everything after the name of the function. So we're going to say welcome3 because that has to match whatever our function name is because we're returning a value to it. But instead of equals hello space application.username, we're going to put a parameter. So the parameter goes right here in between these parentheses. This is going to be, you can declare whatever variable type that you'd like. For example, you could say that this has to be a string. It can't be, for example, an integer or a double, which is a number with decimals, but it must be a string. For example, I could say, we'll just say cval. That's just something I like to use for a character string that's a value, but you can call it whatever you want. I'm going to type cval as string. And if you leave out this declaration that it's going to be as a string, I'm going to erase that. By default, that would mean that it is a variant, which looks just like this, cval as a variant, which means it could take on the form of a date or a number, but in this case, we're going to leave it as a variant type. You could put it as a string. So this is the variable, this is the thing that is being input. So we're going to actually feed it this value, and then I'm going to Control C to copy the cval to the clipboard, and then I'm going to paste it with Control V right here. What this means is whoever's calling this formula called welcome3, they're going to have to feed it a value, for example, a name, and then it is going to say hello space and whatever that value is. So let's try this out. First, we're going to try it in VBA, and then we'll try it in a cell. So we're going to call this one subtest3, and we're going to say my var equals welcome3, and I'm going to open my parentheses now. And you see that it tells me cval is the input that we need. Now, it doesn't mean a lot. So what I would probably do in practice is actually give it something like cname or person's name as the variable so that they would know when they're typing this that that's what's needed. But I'm going to go ahead and put a string of text such as my name, Daniel. And now whenever this formula runs, we're feeding it a value, and it's going to output hello space Daniel. So let's try it out. I'm going to go to test3. And I'm going to hit F8, F8, and here we go. Whenever I run this with F8, it's going to go ahead and run the formula. So as you can see, we've input the parameter cval as the word Daniel, and it's acknowledging that here. So it's going to say hello space Daniel. And sure enough, that worked. So now when we go back to our original procedure here, it does say hello space Daniel. And now we can do the same thing with a cell. So we're going to say equals welcome3, which is our new function. Now, if I leave it without parameters, it's going to get mad about that. So we do need to put a parameter. For example, if I said Dan, just to show you some variety, and it worked, equals welcome3, and all I put was the word Dan. Now, you could also use whatever is in a cell. For example, I'm going to say Steve. And so I'm going to say equals welcome3 tab, and I'm going to choose the cell D5 and hit enter. And it's going to take the value from range the cell D5. It's going to say hello space Steve. So that is how to do parameters, and we're going to talk a little bit more about some of those fun, spicy things that we can do with parameters. We'll see you in the next lecture.